Hey guys, thank you for checking out Bucked Up. Just before we start, I would love if you'd hit the subscribe button, like, share the video. We have new episodes coming out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And starting in the new year, check out Wrapped Up exclusively on Vivo. This episode is sponsored by Exotic Roots Hydro, which I have to give a huge shout out to. They are a huge supporter of the podcast, and I'm really happy to be working with them. If you're ever in Rochester, New York, and you need to learn about any of your hydroponic needs, go to their shop. You can follow them at Exotic Roots Hydro on Instagram. Shout out their whole team. They have an amazing venue space. They're going to be putting on tons of events. Just make sure to follow Exotic Roots Hydro on Instagram. And if you're ever in Rochester, definitely stop by. Let's get back into it.
It was at this moment that he knew.
He bucked up.
Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up.
You were showing love to You'll Never Know, who's a dope ass rapper.
Yeah, I think in issue 3 I had wrote about his project, and then I offered it to him right away. I was like, "Yo, I'll interview you for the next one." And ever since then, man, he went crazy. I don't know if you saw the video he posted, like I think maybe Friday or sometime last week.
No,
this guy
I
had so much. Man, he had like so much energy showing off that issue that he was in, man. So it just bugged me out, man. It's always crazy to see.
I'll have
it's
to
always
check
crazy
that
to
out.
see. Yeah, it's on his IG, man. He posted it up.
Oh, that's dope.
Like, yeah, man. So
I was like, you do in the magazine, you have your interviews written out. I would get so nervous doing that. Like, I like the podcast because if I saw like a written out how I ask questions, I'd be like, God damn, you just asked the same question 17 times.
Yeah, man, it's different. You know what? Because when I first started it, I was thinking about like the idea for this, for Street Dreams. I was thinking about doing it as a podcast, but I didn't have nobody that really like knew mixtapes like that.
Mm-hmm.
So since I didn't have like friends or anybody that really like knew about mixtape culture like that, I was just like kind of left in the kind of in limbo because I didn't know really how to go about it, man. So, but being that like, I could write out the questions, I could always like ask them like how I think they should sound. And then I could always change it like in the editing process. So
yeah,
it always works out that way. Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense though, because can you go like, do you go back and do you listen? Do you record the interview and then you like listen and write it out afterwards?
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Because there's no way I could like remember everything that somebody had just said.
No, totally. I just couldn't believe like having to do that, like listen to my own voice and do that. I would not be able to.
It's a pain in the ass, man. Like, let's say like when I first started doing the interviews, man, I was doing like hour-long interviews with people, and that shit would take like maybe like 3-4 hours just to get one interview down. So over time, man, I had like started to get better at it and kind of broke it down a little quicker than doing whole hours, like just making sure that I just, touch on the key points that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
And, so usually it takes about an hour and a half, now I've dropped down the interviews down to like 30 to 45 minutes. So once I do that, it's easier to kind of get everything kind of.
How much do you keep out of that? Like in a written one, how long is like a written one? Do you keep like a quarter of it or?
I try to keep as much of the interview as possible. Like I try to make sure that people get to a certain point. There's sometimes where I've interviewed people that could just talk. Mm-hmm. And when they could just talk, it'll be like they'll get to a point, and I'll kind of decide when and where to kind of cut it. Yeah. And if it's left on the cutting room floor, then it just sits there. I don't release the audios or anything like that. So,
do you have like a team that works with you with the magazine? Because so you have 4 issues out.
Yeah. So
and that shit must take so long, like the amount of time and effort that goes into that.
Yeah. So let me tell you, I don't have like a team behind me. I do all the interviews. I put everything together. The only thing that I don't do at all is like the cover art itself. But in between that, I still put like the words on the covers and everything. So
Yeah.
it's all just pretty much kind of asking people to do it, and people submit. There's times where people have submitted art, and it's kind of gone that way. But as far as everything else in the magazine itself, I'm the one putting the words on it. I'm doing the interviews. I'm hitting up people to be interviewed. I record the interviews. Like it's all pretty much just me at the moment, man.
Yeah. So you said you wanted to start it as a podcast. When did the idea come up for it?
So the idea so around the time that Prodigy died. So Prodigy died in 2017, man. And I was at the first Griselda show that was in Webster Hall in 2017. Prodigy came out, and I don't know if you were there or not, or maybe you heard of it.
No, I was at the Mass shows. I'm from Massachusetts, actually, so that's where, like, yeah.
Bet. So when Griselda first performed in Webster Hall, they were like down in the basement. They had like everybody come out, like Raekwon, the Lox came out, Prodigy came out. So this was a couple weeks before he died. So I had the chance to like meet him, but I didn't take the chance to go outside and go like meet him and go get a picture or anything. So right after he died, I started thinking about this one mixtape that I had seen in my cousin's collection called Mob Misses by J Love. So it was all like unreleased Mobb Deep music. So after he died, like the day he died, I remember listening to Power 105, and Clue was playing like Prodigy music, but he was playing like the B-sides and like the mixtape stuff and the underground stuff.
The deep cuts, yeah.
Yeah, like the deep cuts. So from there, it inspired me to go look back at like old mixtapes, go look for things. And through that, I was always looking for mixtapes on my downtime. And from there, it was just like reacquiring things. And, I just decided one day, like I was doing comic books before the pandemic. So then while the pandemic happened.
Wait, what do you mean? You were writing comic books, or you were?
Yeah, I was writing comic books. I was writing and releasing comic books. And I've drawn a couple too. Mm-hmm. But so before the pandemic, strictly I was doing comic books. I was traveling to Comic Cons and comic conventions. But through those conventions, I had seen some guys that were doing a comic book fanzine or a comic book magazine, they were interviewing like old writers and old artists. And, they were talking about going through dollar bins and finding old comics. And I was reading them during like the pandemic, and it just inspired me. It just had me thinking about the mixtape thing and the hip hop thing. So I was like, yo, why don't I take that mixtape fanzine idea, turn it into a zine, and just do it that way? And that's just how it just came about, and it just took off from there, man.
It makes sense that you knew kind of how to do it beforehand with all the comic books and stuff, because I feel like the barrier of entry in creating a magazine is so high.
Yeah, well, it's funny, man, because like my brother, it was when I decided to do the idea for the fanzine. I had started like doing them, like manipulating the pages and stuff using Google Drive. Mm-hmm. And I was showing my brother, and my brother's like, yo, dude, you could do that a whole lot easier if you just did that on Photoshop. So he knew Photoshop. So he gave me I was like, yo, this is what I want to do. How do I do this in Photoshop? Show me exactly how to do it. So my brother just gave me like the little tutorial. He wrote it out. And I went from there and just did the magazine like that.
Yeah. Do you still make comic books?
So I literally just released two, like maybe like a couple weeks ago. Like literally this past weekend, I did a comic convention here in New Jersey. So I still do them, but lately, man, this fanzine thing, the Street Dreams, is kind of like taking more precedent over the comic books.
Yeah,
it's just become more of an actual thing now. So now it's like it started going crazy when I released the first one. The second one, it went just as crazy. And then I took a little, I did like a little hiatus before I released issue 3 and 4. And now it's like going nuts. I think I just sold out of issue 4 today. So
really, congratulations on that.
Yeah, man. So it's really dope, man. So
that's
it's not
crazy
often
because
yeah.
most people wouldn't think like, not for nothing, but like, oh, a magazine, like, why would you start that? That wouldn't do shit, but it's what you wanted to do.
Yeah. It, I didn't know what to think of it. I originally planned on just doing one and then keeping it moving from there. And then as soon as I did one, everybody like, was like, nah, bro, like none of my peoples would let me, like, they wouldn't let me they wouldn't let it die. They were like, yo, no, you got to do another one. You know, so like the first one was like all DJs. I had like DJ Doo-Wop in there.
Yeah.
I also had Ito in there too, which is really funny. He was
Shout
one
out
of the
Ito.
yeah, shout out to Ito, man. He was the first person I hit up about the magazine, and I was like, yo, I want to interview you in this magazine. He was like, I hit him up on Twitter, and he was like fucking cool about it, and literally wasted a whole like, yo, it's to the point that I can't even get at him now. But at that time, when I hit him up, I was like, yo, just what's your 5 favorite mixtapes? And you know, he just went off and told me those 5 favorite mixtapes, and I haven't spoke to him since. Dude.
Yeah, you got to go up to Rochester. Shout out.
Yeah.
He was just on this podcast. The episode isn't released yet, but
oh, dope. That's
yeah,
dope.
we had a good time. I went up to Rochester and we took mushrooms and we just tripped for a whole
shit.
night and did a podcast. Like half the podcast is sober and half of it isn't. It was a
Wow.
hilarious time.
That's awesome, man.
That's why I wanted, like, that's why I was, I wanted to talk to you, is because creating like a magazine about like it was just something I could tell it was just something you wanted to do.
Yeah,
there were so many people telling me like, everyone has a podcast. Don't do a podcast. Like, and it's like I just wanted to do what I wanted to do. I wasn't thinking about like, oh, what's gonna get me the most people looking at my shit. Like,
yeah, exactly. I could agree with that because when I thought about doing the podcast, it's like I said, it was just like yo, you could spin around backwards and say the alphabet backwards, and there's like a million podcasts. I didn't want to be just another person doing a podcast, and I just felt that it was hard to balance because I was doing the comic book stuff and I was traveling doing that stuff, and it took up a lot of my time. So.
But that's your medium. Like creating comic books is your medium. Yeah. So of course you'd use that information to pass on to the next field.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's one of those things where, man, I had to, you know, walk the comics so street dreams can fly kind of thing, man. So.
I totally feel that. And it's funny, the Conway shit, because the 2017 tour, that's where I would say 2016 is when I met Conway. And
okay.
I met after a show. I just talked to him for like 45 minutes about comedy and shit and just smoked blunts. And it was cool because that was before they were on and shit. And in that conversation, like set something off of my mind where I was like, I want to have more of these conversations. Yeah. And I don't know why that, other than other conversations I've had, but Griselda does like inspire a lot of people to follow their shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, up until that 2017 time, like I wrote about it too after I went to that show. Like I wasn't going to shows that much. Like I stopped going to like hip hop shows like in like 2010. Like
why?
And I was doing a radio show at the time, and like I had like a falling out with like the radio show guys that I was doing that particular project with, and it just turned me off from just rap in general. And then like up until like 2014 too, like I was actively listening to like new hip hop and things that were coming out. And I just didn't like where hip hop was at the time, man. And I stopped like really checking for like the new stuff up until I heard Griselda. So that kind of just got me excited and rejuvenated that love, man. It was like when I went to that
the first project you heard was?
I think the first thing I heard was Dudley Boys with Bronson.
Yeah.
And then from there, I'm like a student, man. I'm like a sponge. I'm like, yo, let me hear what came before this. So the project that really had me as a West Side fan was Hitler Wears Hermes too.
Oh,
and it was funny because when I went to that Webster Hall show, first off, it was a sold out show, and I got in there for free because my nephew worked for Webster Hall. So he worked for Webster Hall, so he got me in there like on like the sneak tip. So I got in there like on the sneak tip. So I was there early as hell, just chilling with my nephew, and I met Westside. And I was like the first person there. He was coming in to do like sound check, and then when I met him, it was funny because he pulls out a Hitler Wears Hermes CD, and he was like, "Yo," he's like, "I found two of these." And I said, the first two people I see I'm just gonna hand it to them. He's like, "Yo, you're the first person I saw." So he handed me a Hitler Wears Hermes 2 CD. He's
For
like,
real?
Yo. Yeah, and he was like, "Yo, that's the original, by the way." So he just gave me a dab and then just showed love and then just went inside, man. And I was like, oh shit. It was funny because that was the project that I was like really fucking with, and that's what he gave me.
Do you still have that CD?
Oh yeah. I still have it. Yeah, of course.
That's
like,
crazy.
yeah, that's just like an heirloom now.
It is wild to see how big they've gotten and how they've changed like a whole realm of hip hop.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. From that show, like, I just knew that it was something special. Like, I had to like leave in the middle of it because like I was losing my mind at just what I was seeing because I realized what I was seeing. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like Prodigy came out, then they performed, and then the Locks came out. And then I was like, yeah, like, how much more crazy can it get? Then they brought out Raekwon, and Raekwon kind of passed the torch to them that night. So when I saw that, I was like, yo, this is a moment. And I left right after that. Because I was like, yeah, I was just losing my mind. It was too much. It was too much for me to handle at that one time.
Yeah.
And I haven't been to, and it's to the point that I haven't been to a Griselda show since because I feel like it won't top that moment to when I went to that first show. It won't top that. It won't top it. So I haven't gone to see any. I haven't seen Benny in them. I haven't seen Conway show. I haven't gone to none of their concerts since. Man.
Is it like too emotional for you? Like,
I don't know.
I know what you're talking about, but
yeah. I think it was just a lot for me to handle at one time because you don't ever see. It was like Raekwon kind of put it together, put it perfectly when he was on that stage. He was like, he's like the Mob, Locks, and Wu just walked in this building tonight. They're like, you don't see that for anybody. It was just like, bro, there was like a who's who of people in the crowd too. You know what I'm saying? Like I met who's this guy? He's like an Asian dude, but he's like a chef, and he has the show Fresh Off the Boat.
What's his name?
Yeah, it's gonna kill me now, man.
It's gonna kill me now because he had one of the best restaurants I ever went to in New York.
Yeah.
Bauhaus was the name of the restaurant.
The Bauhaus. Yeah.
What the
Bauhaus.
fuck is the name of him?
No, that was gonna bother me.
Oh no!
It's gonna hit me hours later. It's gonna hit me like hours later.
No, because whenever I went to New York, I said I'm from Massachusetts. I would go to Bauhaus because that was like my favorite place to get food because they'd always be bumping Griselda and shit in there.
And then the logo for their shirts is Mobb Deep's old thing. It's the infamous Bauhaus. Yeah, man.
I totally get what you mean about the like it being too much. Like I feel that with stand up. So I'm a comedian. I'm a stand up comedian.
Yeah, I've seen.
I don't like the new Chappelle special. Everyone was watching it for everyone was like, "Oh my god, have you?" And I couldn't watch it for like a month. Like it was almost too much. Like it's that same shit. It was like almost too much, and then finally I had to like force myself to like sit down and watch it. But shit like that, it's too like. I don't know how to describe it. But that's not.
It's weird. It's weird because I told my fiance about that. I was like, yo, I had to leave. And she was like, why'd you have to leave? I was like, yo, it was too much. I was like, yo, Raekwon came out, Prodigy came out. I was like, yo, the fucking Locks came out. I was like, I don't know how to, I was like, yo, like, I don't know what it was. It was just like too much overload for me, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was I don't know, like my sensory was just was just off, man. I was like, yo, this is fucking nuts, dude.
You get that with like talking to like someone like Nicholas Craven or someone. Do you get like
No, you know what, man? When I first started doing the magazine, I was a little nervous because the first magazine, I could have just interviewed DJ Doo-Wop and I would have been good. You know, if this magazine didn't take off, at least I was like, yo, at least I got to interview Doo-Wop and I would have been good. And when I was interviewing him, it's funny because I have a homie that every certain interview I do, I'll like burn it on a CD and then take it over there and we'll chill and we'll converse, and you hear it like the phone call. They always sound like jail calls for some reason, right? And then so the first one I was like hella nervous, and then like after like maybe like first 10 minutes, it's usually like me being a little nervous, and then it kind of goes away and everybody's comfortable and we're having a good time talking. And then nowadays it's like it's not like nerve-wracking. Now it's a little easier now because like I said, like I'm kind of like I know what I'm doing now. Most people when I interview them for Street Dreams, they're kind of aware of it now and they kind of know what it is. So they're like, all right, cool. You know, and that's the thing, man. The industry and like the artists and this scene we're in is so small that everybody knows everybody. So it's kind of like people are when somebody has like a good interview or they have like a good time having that interview, they'll end up telling other people and they're like, okay, cool. They know the kind of like what to expect, you know?
Totally. That's what happened with Mark from Top Shelf Premium. He like vouched, he told people, and that was how I ended up getting Crime Apple on. And that was the only one that I don't get too nervous for interviews anymore. Like, I mean, like when Conway posted that he was coming on, I like had a panic attack there. But like Crime Apple, I was like, before he came over to the studio, I had to like sit in the corner and take deep breaths and shit. Like I was a little nervous for that one.
Man, it's funny, man, because when I had finished the second magazine, I had went over to Top Shelf, and when I went over there, I handed Mark the mag, kind of like introduced myself. Like up until that time, I've like popped in there and would like grab like old Clue tapes that he was selling or old doo-wop tapes. And so I brought him the mag, and that same day, Crime Apple popped in, like maybe like 5 minutes after I was there. So I was like, oh shit. I was like, yo, this is gonna be dope. So I told him about the mag and like about getting in the mag. He told me straight up no. So he told me no. And it was funny, like not funny, but he was like swearing off. Like he's like, yo, I don't do interviews because everybody asked me the same questions. And I was like, yo, my interviews are different. And he was like, all right, so ask me a question. And I didn't have one like off top. I was there. Hip Hop Rick was there too.
Shout out Hip Hop Rick. I was just with him.
Yeah. Hip Hop Rick was there too. And he was like, yo, come on, man. Like, give him a chance. And he was like, nah. Give me a question. And I didn't have one. He's like, yo, see, man, you gotta be ready, man. So
I would have shit my pants.
I was like, fuck. I didn't get mad about it. I just kind of like took it in stride. But we like took a picture and we like chopped it up for a minute. He was like, yo, but next time you see me, have a question. And he's like, and I just may do it. So when I saw that he got on on the pod, I was like, that's dope. I was like, maybe he changed his tune about the
on the podcast, he says he doesn't do interviews other than literally he had like he goes like other than Rosenberg, and I listened to your podcast, so I wanted to do one with you to like give you a chance. Which is like one of the craziest compliments I ever got. Like, that's my whole life. Like, honestly, I saw Rosenberg last night and I told him about that. I was like, listen, you're an idol. And for Crime to say that you and me are the only people he'd talk to, like, I just have to say how much of an honor that is for me to be talking to you, right? Like, to Rosenberg. But
man.
I don't know. It's weird because Hip Hop Rick, shout out Hip Hop Rick. I don't know why, but I just felt like he would do it because of the hallucinogen shit, like the DMT shit, the mushrooms. Like I'm big into that type of shit. So like
That's
I
what's
don't
up,
know
man.
why, but the first question I asked Crime was about his DMT experiences and shit.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Oh yeah, there you go, man.
had you
See,
ever
like,
done that? Like, have you
oh
ever done
no, no,
mushrooms or DMT or anything?
nah, man. So I used to smoke. I don't anymore, unfortunately. I'm like going on like 11 months clean, man.
Oh,
I'm on like a
congratulations. Salute for
yeah,
real.
man. Yeah, man. I'm on a cleanse, man. I used to like smoke crazy, man. Like smoke a lot of weed, man. But I don't know. I needed to chill for a little bit. I needed like a year off from it, man.
What made you make that decision?
I was just going through a lot of stuff. Like after I did issue 2 of Street Dreams, man, I was just having like a lot of like it was like everything was going so good with the Street Dreams thing, and the life was just hitting me, man. And I was just like burnt out from going so crazy with the Street Dreams thing because it took a lot out of me in the beginning, man. And I don't know, man. I was just going through so much in life that I was just like, yo, I just need to chill and get my mind clear. Like I was just operating so much on just like I think it was just the dependency on it, man. Like I couldn't have a good time without it. Like if I didn't have it, I was like a terror, man.
Yeah.
So it was like when I have it, I'm good. And then it was like when I didn't have it, I was like a terror, man. So I was like, I was tired of feeling that irritability, man. So I'm cooling now, man. But I smell it
11
all the
months is
time,
a
man.
long time though. Like congrats on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that,
Now
man.
that you're
I'm trying.
rounding up to a year, do you feel yourself going back or do you see this as your new path?
I don't know, man. That's the funny thing, man. That's the funny thing because I saw a post by All Guns Butter.
Oh
All
yeah,
Guns,
yeah.
yeah,
All
yeah.
guns, no
So,
butter. Shout out.
yeah. Shout
Yeah.
out to him, man. His page is funny as hell, man. I saw that he put up that he was like 2 years, 2 years clean from bud, man. And he's like, I smell it all the time. He's like, I don't know if I want to go back. And when I saw he said 2 years, I was like, I don't know, man. I feel like when the year comes up, I'm kind of gonna decide from there. It's like, should it be something that I just do like socially, or should it be something that like I just leave alone? I like the clarity, but I like the smell of it too. And I think I just remember just the good times, man, more than anything. So
Yeah.
I think it's the fun stuff that I think about when it comes to it.
When did you start smoking? Were you young?
So I think the first time I smoked was like I had to be like maybe like 10 or 11.
Shit, bro.
Yeah, but I didn't do it heavy until I was like 19.
Okay.
19, I was there. And I'm 34 now. So, so up until that time, it was more like on and off kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
I was able to like do it just on weekends. And then like the thing was too is that I didn't know how to roll. And once I figured out how to do that,
it was over. I know. I used to spy. I used to pay $10 for a half-gram joint. That was like I would just go over to the guy and he'd roll it for me, and I would just go over there like literally at some when it was like I was going over there 2-3 times a day, and it was like I could just learn how to roll or get a roller at this point. And once I did that, it was over, bro. Once I learned how to roll, it was over.
Yeah, man, that was my problem. It's just I didn't know how to roll it, man. So I had other people do it, and I had an ex-girlfriend at the time that would do it. So it's terrible.
I feel you. I don't smoke blunts anymore, and that's how you do. Like I miss whenever someone's rolling up a backwood and they light it up, like I miss that smell so much. Like I miss that. But it's been 3 years that I just smoke weed, no tobacco or nicotine or anything.
Yeah, nah, man. I always like I came up on those, man. I love those things, man. It's to the point that like, yo, it's weird because like the local like 7-Eleven in my neighborhood, every time I go in there, they remember me from when I used to do all that stuff, and they always go to grab that stuff, and I'm like, nah. I'm like, nope. I'm like, please put that back, sir.
Like, please don't tempt me.
Yeah, man. So anytime there's.
Hey guys, this episode is sponsored by the podcast Woody Two Shoes, hosted by comedian Thatcher Wood. Other than being a really good friend, Thatcher is one of the funniest comedians and podcasters I know. Woody Two Shoes is available on all podcast platforms. It's a comedic podcast where he interviews a different interesting person each week, and they get into a bunch of different topics. You should subscribe to his YouTube channel too. At 100 subscribers, he's giving away merch. At 500 subscribers, he's giving away a PS5. That's right. Yeah, a PS5. So make sure you go subscribe to Woody Two Shoes on YouTube and follow Thatcher on Instagram at Wood Two Shoes. 2 is in the number. Wood Two Shoes on Instagram. Let's get back into it. How long does it take you to make one of the street dreams?
Depends, man. So I think the fastest one I got done was issue 2. Because I started it in the middle of like issue 1. So when I wrapped up issue 1, it was a lot easier to do 2. I think 2 was the fastest. So I usually say about maybe 2 to 3 months, usually 2 to 3. So I know that I just put the issue 4 out recently. So I know the next one I'm not dropping until issue 5. Issue 5 I'm not dropping until January.
Are you
so it's giving me time
already?
I'm starting to get starting to look around for who I want to interview and stuff and see who would be interested in being in it. And I know I keep getting DMs from people wanting to be in it. And I just feel like, I don't know. It's different for me, man, because I like to be excited about who I interview. I don't just interview someone just because it'll be a good look or there's some clout behind it or something. Like I don't have like ulterior motives when I interview people. You know, it's people that I'm genuinely interested in, and I genuinely want to hear their story, and I genuinely want to ask them questions. You know, so for anybody that's ever hit me up like, yo, I want to be in Street Dreams, and you know, I didn't give you that opportunity. It's nothing against you, but I just have to find that interest, man. Like,
no, I feel that. And that's the same thing with like the crime apple asking you, or like I've asked people who have just straight up been like, you know, no, or just like for every 20 messages I send out, I probably get 2 or 3 replies. Like it's not like everyone's replying to my shit. And it's funny that you said that, because literally like 2 or 3 days ago, the podcast has gotten to a point, and this is no offense to anyone who reaches out, because I appreciate all the support, but it's gotten to the point where like I can't reply to everyone, and I also can't have everyone who wants to be on the podcast on. Like I want to talk to people who I want to talk to. I do 3 episodes a week because like there's so many cool people I want to talk to.
Yeah, I like that when you were doing the 2, because I like your reasoning behind it when you said you're trying to get your 10,000, get to your 10,000 hours faster. Yeah. So now that I see you're doing 3 a week, I'm like, yo, I was like, yo, man, you're setting a good precedent, man. Setting a real good precedent.
Like, no matter what people say about Joe Rogan, like when I started listening to podcasts, that's what I listened to. And he would do 3-4 a week that were 4 hours long. And it wasn't about who's listening. It's about like he wants to have cool conversations. So that's kind of why I do it, is because I don't care if anyone listens. I just get to talk to, you know, you 1 week, Bernard Artwork 1 week, JUS 1 week from Bruiser Brigade. I get to do mushrooms with Ito. I get to I don't care if it's, I just like to have the cool experience of living that, you know, having those experiences.
Yeah, no, I get that, man. That's kind of like, I don't know, like I said, like most of the time, like being due to like the pandemic, I haven't interviewed many people in person, but when I do, it's always like interesting, you know. Like I get what you're saying, man. You just want to just speak to people that you think are cool, man. And it's like it's weird when you like doing the mag. Sometimes it's like for me to like do these interviews, I have to like, you know, have that genuine interest to want to like Google you, to want to listen to music, to want to scour your Instagram for any interesting tidbit you may have dropped, you know, and, you know, to seek more insight on. Like I had the opportunity to interview Dark Low, and I didn't even do it because I didn't know much about him. And then I didn't know till like a couple, like maybe a couple of weeks later after I didn't do the interview that he was going inside. I didn't know he was going inside, and now I feel like an asshole for not doing for not doing that interview, man. But
Yeah, that would be a legendary one, Dark Low. But
yeah,
shit like that
yeah,
happens.
yeah, man. It's just like I'm kicking myself in the ass, man, because when I did supply and demand, like I had the chance, I had spoke to Rome, and I had like the opportunity. He was down to do an interview there, and I should have had questions prepared, man. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna come right back, man. And then through like the whole show and, trying to like push the merch and push the books and speak to people and so much, I ended up not doing it. Then a couple weeks later, man, he announced he was on Griselda, and I was like, damn. I was like, I'm not gonna get that one now.
Yeah, that's why when I asked you first about the written part of the magazine, because at least with the podcast, like I don't have to prepare questions, kind of like I can just have a conversation with someone for an hour.
Nah.
And
I have that same talent too. Like I've done that with certain interviews. I've been able to do certain interviews where I could go in with no questions and still have a banging interview.
But if it's going to be written down, I feel like the stress level's a little bit higher,
Yeah, I've learned that too. It's kind of like now I kind of see why like guys don't write rhymes anymore. They kind of just go in and do that because I feel like it is a lot easier. But to me, it's like it has to be somebody like I know. Like if I was to do an interview with Conway, I think I could pull one off without actually writing anything down and kind of just going off.
Yeah.
Same thing with like a West Side or like a Nas or Hove or somebody like that. But for certain guys, like I have to like do research on because it's impossible to know everybody, man. It's just like doing the mag. Sometimes, like I said, it feels like playing God, man. Because you could be looking at someone and you have to pay attention to this one person, and then you're passing up other people as well, and you got to double back. Sometimes it's like the only thing with the mag that I see sometimes is that it does take time. So when I do interview some people, sometimes I'll interview them and the interview doesn't come out for like 2 months. And it's just like it's trying to like I guess slow the game down a little bit, but it's so hard to. But the conversations, man, sometimes I just like if it takes like if something has happened in between that time of the interview and the time that the book's about to release, I always put like update, this happened, after the interview or something like that. So I've been able to find like ways around that, man. But
that is a problem because like I'm sitting on about 15 podcasts right now that aren't released yet, and I put all my ones out in order. Like I don't skip orders around. So like I'm sitting on the Crime and the Ito and it's like I can't release that for literally a month or so, and all these people are wanting to hear it, and it's like it's just the way that I work is I have to do it in order. I'm not gonna like push someone to the front of the line because that's not every guest on this podcast is like equal. They all get the same amount of press. They get all the same amount of time. I'm not gonna release one episode for like 4 days and one for 2 days.
Yeah,
everyone's
it's like
equal.
knowing like like when you do Ito and Crime, your hits are gonna go up, man. So it's like being patient, man. And sometimes it's hard. Like there's times where I've had done interviews, man, and I've just wanted to just put the audio up somewhere and just said, fuck it, just put the audio up just because it was such a good conversation, man. But there's times where like I've learned patience through this, man, and I think that's the best thing, man.
It's like rap. Like I'm not a rapper. I don't know if you've ever tried to rap, but like we're in the
I have.
I have. We're in the community of it, and it's like they don't put out like a rapper won't put an album out for a year after it's recorded, even if it's the best project they've ever done. Like you have to learn the pacing of it. You really do have to learn that patience is a virtue. Like if you rush it, it's gonna be rushed. Like fucking looking at your magazines. Like I'll like this is the newest issue. Like if you rush this, it wouldn't come out the way it does now. It shows that it takes time in it.
Yeah, there is time. There is a lot of effort. A lot goes into it sometimes. Like I know when I did the issue 3, like there was a period where issue 2 came out and 3 took a minute. And the people that I interviewed in the mag and for issue 3, they were like, yo, when is this coming out? When are you doing it? And it's like, yo, we did this interview like a while ago, and people would just be hounding me for that stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I would just ignore it.
Yeah, but you're doing a whole magazine on yourself, like by yourself. That takes. Do you have like dreams of growing it? Like, do you have like a plan of what you want to do, or are you still just doing it for you?
I don't even to be honest, man. I don't have like an end goal. The one thing that I wanted that I accomplished with this issue was not having to, like, it basically funded itself through the pre-orders.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So I said, if I could do that, if I could have it, the next issues kind of follow suit in that order where it funds itself and, there's no, me having to come out of pocket. I'm like, I'm cool with that. If that's the thing, and this is just a thing that I do and I'm able to speak to people, I would love for it to become like a platform, like a, like a Top Shelf, like, people, when people have rollouts, and they go to Breakfast Club, they go to Hot 9, they go to, then they have the Top Shelf freestyle. Then, they go to LA Leakers, and, I would love for that to be, I would love for that to be the thing where they're like, all right, cool. Now I got to get my Street Dreams interview in. Now I got to go on Bucked Up, Like, I would love for it to just be that. If it's just a platform for that, then I'm cool with it. I'm great with it. But, if it could grow into something, I think it would be dope too.
And it is something unique. Like, who else? I don't know any other shit like what you're doing.
I mean, like, I've seen other magazines before. I've seen people do zines, and I've seen people do this stuff. It's just, I think that there is a void that I am filling, but at the same time, there are people that do other magazines. I'm not the only game in town. I always say that to people. It's just what we do is just a little bit different.
Well, that's what you have to do, is because you're doing what you want to do. Like, you're doing what you're not doing, like, oh, what's gonna get me, whatever, fill in the blank.
Yeah, like that's the thing. So what I've learned from like other things, like I've seen other magazines, and they'll charge artists to be in it, and they'll take money from some unknown person that's just looking to get to the next step in their career, and they'll charge them. We don't charge people for interviews. Like, it has to be a genuine, like I said, a genuine interest. It's like, if I don't like the music, I'm not gonna just interview you.
That ruins credibility. Like, I've had people ask to be on this podcast. They'll be like, I'll pay you a certain amount, $100 to do it. It's like, I'm sorry, but that's just not, it's going to ruin my, even though I need that money, I'm not going to do it because it ruins my credibility. Yeah.
Like there is a criteria to it. And some people like I get DMs all the time where people send me their music, and it's just like, and I think I told one person, I'm like, yeah, man, sorry, dude, it doesn't work that way. And they like argued. They're like, but why can't you just listen to the music? And it's just like, bro, I don't like the way you're coming at me with this. Like, no. It's just like,
if someone ever said no, I would never turn on them. Like, I would never be like, why the fuck? Like,
no, like, I've had people do that. I got friends that have been like, yo, interview me. And I'm like, bro, no, like, dude, I have to see something like progressive. I have to see like, interest. I have to see like, like something going on,
That is really tough. Yeah. Like, cause I have friends, and it's like, it is tough. It's that thing where it's like, strangers will make you rich, but it's also like, strangers will put you, like, you have to, like, you have to, if your friends aren't going to be your real friends, if they're trying to get business shit from you or professional,
I always find that to just be weird as hell, but like, I throw homies on the mixtapes and stuff, so.
Yeah, of course. And if it's a good track, it's different than like an interview and shit.
Yeah. Like, I think I had one friend that was like, oh, interview me, but he took it as like it being like funny. And I was like, yo, dude, now you're just wasting my time. Yeah. He was like, yo, you should interview me. He's like, I think that would be funny. And I was like, you think it would be funny. Like, why the hell am I gonna do something that you think would be funny now?
Yeah, they don't. I don't think people realize how much of your own time you put into something, though. They think
Yeah,
it's probably just like you interview them, someone types it up, and they put it out. It's like
yeah,
that's not
yeah.
how it works.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, it's not how it works. Man. It's not how it works. But,
You said
yeah.
you used to want to be, or you used to rap and stuff. Did you expect, like, looking to where you're at now? Did you see how this would be how you would be influential in the game?
Uh, absolutely not, man. I mean, I wanted to rhyme, and then like I just got to a point where like I can't say that I didn't do anything because I did have like my music did reach to like, you know, Europe, Germany, and like other countries and stuff. I just didn't have the passion for it. Like, you know what I mean? I lost the passion for it. So like once I lost the passion for that, that's kind of where I lost the passion of like researching new music and stuff. And
Mm.
through Street Dreams, like I've been doing that inspired me to kind of like pay attention to more things and to kind of like, you know, listen to a lot more stuff and like, you know, buy more tapes and buy people's merch and stuff. And as far as like, I was always keeping it a secret, man, but whatever, man. I have a couple verses on the mixtapes.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell people which ones, but
Or I'm gonna have to
yeah,
listen now. You just sent them all
yeah,
to me.
yeah,
I'm gonna have
yeah.
to
So,
listen and check that shit out.
yeah. Man. You gotta listen to the mixtapes now. I'm not gonna tell you which ones they're on, but yeah, I got verses on them. I got a couple verses on
It's
them.
awesome that you can still do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, like I mean, like my idea behind that was just like I don't know if you ever heard of DJ Doo-Wop mixtape
Yeah,
or like a Tony Touch mixtape.
yeah.
I always liked how they did the intros to their own tapes. And so like my idea was why not just do the intros and just whatever. And the idea was to not tell people that I did it. And when somebody did kind of peep it the other day, someone hit me up and they were like, yo, is that you on such and such song? And I was like, no, why? and the dude was like, yo, he's like, well, he's like, if that's you, he's like, I think you killed it. And I think it's really crazy. Like you kind of you did your thing on that. He's like, but it's not you. And I was like, yeah, nah, that's me. I was like,
He's like, I knew it was you.
yeah.
Full of
He
shit,
was like,
man.
yeah, he was like, I knew it was you, you fucking bastard. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, nah.
Now I'm gonna have to, and when I find it, I won't tell anyone. I'm not gonna ruin your secret.
Yeah. Nah. I mean, whatever, man. People hear this now. They're gonna like now. People like if they've been in the magazine, if they've been on the tapes, now they're gonna end up paying attention to that shit. But that's strictly just that. Like that's just the fun part. Like it's just fun, man.
Do
I'm
you
not
have
doing
any like dream interviews? And I'm not talking like a Nas or a Jay-Z, like, but like dream interviews that are like not attainable, but ones that are like, oh, that would be such a cool person to sit down and talk with.
I'm trying to think. Rosenberg is one, even though I kind of did one with Rosenberg. It's in the new issue. It's really only a one question interview, which is weird.
Really?
But because what happened was, man, with the Rosenberg thing was he was doing like a media day thing for his album, like a Zoom. And I didn't know how many people were going to be involved in it. I thought it was going to be like, you get time to do an interview and you get time to do an interview and stuff. And it ended up being like, just like Rosenberg fans asking questions. And they ended up being like fan questions and like people asking for advice on resumes. It's like all types of like dumb stuff. I was the only person to really ask him a question, man. And I didn't get time to really, I tried getting him in the mag and he was down. And he was for it. And he actually has a copy of issue 3. And when we did the interview, he was like, yo, I remember you. He's like, the magazine is actually really dope. He did compliment it. He was like, yo, I have it. He was like, I have it right here, you know, but it just around the time Summer Slam was going on, Summer Jam was going on. I called him at like a bad time, man. So I didn't get to get a full-on interview. But the answer that he did give me to the question I had, it was actually long enough that I was like, yo, it at least filled up half the page. So I was like, yo, that's cool.
Oh, that's pretty dope. Anyone else?
But I mean,
Who do you have any
Oh,
other interviews on that you can give for issue 5 that you have coming out?
oh, I haven't locked any in yet. I haven't locked any in.
Okay.
Nah, man. As far as people, like, I would love to interview like Tony Touch. I would love to interview like DJ Clue. I
Mhm.
would love to. I don't know, man. I want to interview people, but I don't have anybody that I'm like clamoring for at the moment, man. I mean,
No,
if we
I
were to
feel
be
you.
like, yeah, like I have like the one person I do want to interview is Frejo Star from Onyx. I do
Yeah.
want to interview him, and I think that's a possibility.
Yeah, I don't
I
think
think that
that would be an
yeah,
awesome interview.
I got a homie that's doing an that's producing an album for him right now. So I think it's like obtainable, man. I want to interview the Lots too. Like I don't know. I've tried, man. I've tried reaching out, man. I tried reaching out as much as possible, man. Like I wanted to interview
Just DM and
Core.
Chic every day.
Yeah, just hitting them up. Like I hit up I tried getting that Core Mega, man, and I went through like the proper channels of that and it didn't really come through,
Oh,
man.
that's too
It's
bad.
just yeah, man. Yeah.
I don't know
It is
why,
what it
but yeah,
is.
I've been listening to a lot of his older stuff, but I feel that same way with like Dre Dog. I tried to
Yeah.
get Dre Dog on, and it was like, as I
Yeah.
said, for every 20 messages I send out, I probably get 5 people to reply.
Yeah. I mean, I've been able like when it comes to like certain names like Chic or like Jada, I'm not gonna like. I feel like there is a limit to like the people that are in it. Like there's just people that just feel above those things, and that's cool. They worked hard enough to be that way.
Yeah,
But I
like I
feel
went to
like
go talk to Jim Jones last night because he was at the event, and I was like, this is a way. Like, there's not a single chance in the world that Jim Jones will agree to do my podcast right now.
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like the same people that rep Rosenberg also rep the Dipset.
Yeah,
So
I fuck with
so
Dipset. I like
yeah.
Dipset.
Yeah, I do too. I do too, man. It's just when that verses happened with the locks in, it was just like, it made me look at Dipset totally different.
Yeah, but I feel like Locks needed that. Like Locks needed to come out and kill that.
Yeah, I mean, Jade has
If you're
had
a real
like
hip
a
hop
year.
fan, if you're a real hip hop fan, you're gonna choose the Locks. Like,
Yeah.
but if you don't know hip hop, you probably know members of Dipset more. Like you're probably
Yeah,
like, oh, I know Cameron, I know, Jim Jones. It's the
yeah. I don't know. Like I was when going into that battle, I was going into it knowing like pulling for the locks, but I
Mhm.
felt like Dipset was going to pull it off for some reason, just because I guess they've had more, I guess, like hits, and they were more like just the following that they have online and everything. So I thought they were going to be a shoo-in for it, but as soon as like it started off, like from track 1 all the way to 20, I was like, yeah, like I was like live tweeting it, and I was just losing my mind, bro, losing my mind seeing that shit.
If you
I
had a
was like,
chance to go to that, would you be there? You said you won't go to Griselda shows. Like, would you have gone to that event if a ticket popped up?
you know what? I would have gone to that, man, but the fact that it was on a school night, and I had work the next day, man. I stood up late, man, and the next day I had to be in at like 7 o'clock, man.
Damn.
So yeah, I would definitely would have gone. I wanted to go to that, man, but I don't know. Like I'm still weary about doing things especially with Corona still around and stuff. So
No, I feel you. I definitely feel you.
yeah,
Man, thank you so
yeah.
much for coming on and doing this conversation. For real. It's an honor to talk to you. Thank you for sending me the magazines.
Nah, man, this is dope, man. I was looking forward to doing this, man. So I'm really happy, man. I'm actually on my lunch break doing this, so it's actually really dope, man.
Oh,
I've been
really? I'm
able
happy
to-
it worked.
Yeah,
Thank you for doing it on your lunch break.
yeah, nah, man.
Are you a
I'm trying
teacher? You said
No,
school
hell
days.
no.
Oh, you said
Oh no, no,
school
no, no,
days.
no.
I was like,
no, man. I work for a financial firm that I can't
oh,
discuss.
yeah, no,
I
we
can't
won't
discuss
talk.
who that is, but yeah.
I understand. But man, no, where can people find your stuff? Like, if they want
Yeah,
to get the
man. So
magazine.
if you want to get the magazines on Street Dreams Fanzine dot Big Cartel, so that's the site that we use. You can find me on Instagram. We don't have a Facebook or a website or anything like that yet, but yep. So that's where you can find me as far as Street Dreams is concerned.
Awesome, man. Well, everyone listening should check it out. I can't wait to, now that we've talked, I can't wait to like go back. Now that I know what your voice sounds like and read all the interviews and like,
Oh
I'll get
yeah,
a
man.
totally different feeling to that.
Yeah, man, you're in for some dope stuff, man. There's a lot of good stuff in these, man.
And to
Like,
figure out what
I'm not.
verses are yours.
Oh yeah. Have fun, man. That's gonna be the fun part, man. Now that I told you that, now you're gonna be like listening to. If it's bad, you can tell me, man. It's all good, man.
I'm deleting the episode. I'm just
not this guy.
But no,
nah, man. But I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it as well, man. Like,
of
it's
course,
so dope, man.
I'll see you at an event sometime in person. I know.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. You're doing like a comedy tour, right?
Yeah, I'm doing a comedy and rap tour that I'm actually thank you for bringing that up because I never plug my own shit on this podcast. Yeah. With this producer 2 Official who's worked with like Rick Ross and Snoop Dogg and Yo Gotti.
Okay.
And we're doing
he just hit me up yesterday, man. We followed each other and he was sending me his beat tape that he did. So I gotta check that out now.
Yeah, he's a really dope dude, and we're gonna do a tour of rap and comedy, and then we're gonna have a big like recorded Q&A podcast with all the people on the show afterwards.
Oh, that's sick. That's dope.
Yeah, it'll be a dope time. But everyone, go check that out. You'll see it on my social media. Thanks for listening in. Peace.
Yeah, peace, man.
Man, thank you so much for coming in on your lunch break too. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate it, man. That's why I asked. It's like, yo, how long are your interviews usually? This is perfect, man. Now I just gotta go back, man. I already ate before, so I'm all good.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time and everything, and it'll be great meeting you in person.
Oh yeah, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, peace.
Peace, man.